On the early morning of January 15, 1947, local resident Betty Berzinger was walking with her daughter through Leimert Park in Los Angeles. When she looked into a nearby vacant lot, she saw a figure so pale and unnaturally positioned, she initially assumed it was a discarded mannequin. The true discovery was the heavily mutilated body of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short. She had been entirely drained of blood, and her body was severed completely in half at the waist. This diagram of a human spine illustrates the primary forensic anomaly. The killer executed a bisection with extreme precision, cutting cleanly between two lumbar vertebrae. Examiners found no crushed bone or structural damage. This requires advanced anatomical knowledge, narrowing suspects to those with surgical training. The autopsy results revealed other highly calculated cruelties. Her official cause of death was cerebral hemorrhage and shock from severe blunt force trauma to the head. The killer also sliced her face from the corners of her mouth out to her ears, creating a grotesque facial wound commonly known as a Glasgow smile. Despite the brutality of the act, the perpetrator operated with complete clinical detachment. Before dumping the remains, they meticulously washed the body completely clean of forensic evidence. This careful elimination of clues continued days later. A person claiming to be the killer mailed a manila envelope to the press, containing Elizabeth Short's birth certificate and personal address book. To ensure police found zero fingerprints, the sender had carefully wiped down every single page with gasoline. The Los Angeles Police Department was facing a highly intelligent, surgically trained phantom. Catching an offender of this caliber required total, uncompromised control over the investigation and the flow of information, but they were about to lose control completely. Instead of a secured perimeter, the LAPD got a ruthless circulation war. Competing local newspapers immediately descended on the case, aggressively fighting for exclusive details to drive up their daily readership. To maximize the drama, the press intentionally stripped Elizabeth Short of her tragic reality and rebuilt her as a cinematic character. Because she had dyed black hair and preferred wearing black tailored clothing, reporters branded her with a catchy moniker, the Black Dahlia. The nickname was a direct play on The Blue Dahlia, a highly popular film noir released by Paramount Pictures the previous year. The media effectively turned a gruesome homicide into serialized pulp fiction for the public. The Los Angeles Examiner led the charge in manufacturing this daily tabloid frenzy, employing highly intrusive tactics to stay ahead of their rivals. In their cruelest stunt to secure a scoop, Examiner reporters called Elizabeth's mother, Phoebe Short, and falsely claimed her daughter had just won a local beauty contest. They spent the phone call extracting exclusive personal background details, only revealing the actual murder once they had the information they wanted. The newspaper then flew Phoebe to Los Angeles and sequestered her in a hotel, keeping her hidden from competing journalists to ensure no one else could interview her. This relentless physical presence from reporters and thrill-seekers thoroughly trampled the vacant lot in Leimert Park, severely polluting the crime scene and destroying potential peripheral evidence. This chart tracks the media frenzy's impact. Valid police leads were buried under a massive influx of over 150 unverified suspects and hundreds of false confessions. This avalanche overwhelmed the LAPD, wasting thousands of hours chasing dead ends. While the killer wiped the physical body clean with gasoline, the media effectively wiped the investigative trail clean with sensationalism. The ensuing chaos ensured the true perpetrator could easily slip away. Because the actual investigation was stalled and compromised, it created an 80-year vacuum of information. Into that void, people have poured dozens of elaborate Hollywood-style theories to make sense of the crime. The most famous modern suspect is Dr. George Hodel. In a detailed theory proposed by his own son, former LAPD detective Steve Hodel, the doctor is accused based on his genius-level IQ of 186 and his advanced anatomical training as a venereal disease specialist. The theory centers on a highly incriminating secret LAPD wiretap from 1950. While under surveillance, Dr. Hodel was recorded saying, "Suppose I did kill the Black Dahlia. They couldn't prove it now." His son supported this with circumstantial evidence, including 1947 receipts for cement bags tying his father to dust found near the crime scene, and mysterious photographs found in Hodel's private album that resembled Elizabeth Short. Despite his perfect profile, strict forensic reviews of the Hodel theory dismantle it. Following the 1950s wiretaps, the district attorney's own investigator concluded in a final report that the physical evidence actually eliminated Hodel as a viable suspect. Decades later, independent handwriting experts hired by the LAPD analyzed the letters wiped down with gasoline and concluded they completely mismatched Dr. Hodel's writing. Furthermore, modern forensic photo analysts reviewed the portraits found in Hodel's private album and determined the woman pictured was highly unlikely to be Elizabeth Short. The physical links simply do not hold up. Theories like Dr. Hodel's thrive because they offer a neat, cinematic ending to a deeply disturbing and unresolved reality. Ultimately, Elizabeth Short was victimized twice. First by a medically trained killer, and second by a media machine that chose to prioritize a sensational myth over preserving the truth.